What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the other day I saw some news about Gears of War Reloaded, and we were able to see the sales and also basically how many players are coming on through within the overall experience between Xbox and PlayStation. And I'll be real, I'm kind of disappointed, and I feel like they had a massive missed opportunity here to really pull in a lot of PlayStation players to get them prepped for the overall Gears of War E-Day experience. But, ladies and gentlemen, before we go and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget subscribing and hit that bell. I post twice here, once at 8 a.m. and also a second one at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, we do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, I'm going to link that channel down in the description of this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I saw this post by Still Alive over on the Reddit page saying, well... And in response to that was a post from The Gamer, a news article page, saying, Gears of War Reloaded finally brought the series to PlayStation, but sales haven't been strong. Despite crossing 1.3 million players overall, only about 259,000 copies were sold on PlayStation 5, with Xbox and Game Pass making up nearly 80% of the downloads. Now, don't get me wrong, I completely understand. I see people coming into the comment section saying, well, this is just a remaster of Gears of War 1. Obviously, a lot of the player base is going to be, on the Xbox side of things, especially since, that's their childhood. They've been playing Gears of War basically forever. So, of course, they're going to come back and play it. And a lot of people got it for free as well, for those who don't know. If you own Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which is basically literally the same thing as Gears of War Reloaded, just the older version like 10 years ago, you get this version for free. So clearly, the player count's going to be heavily swayed to the Xbox side of things here. But still, I got to be honest with you guys, this isn't looking good whatsoever. Now, you guys are probably wondering to yourselves, well, JB, what are you talking about, Still millions of players coming on in, playing the overall experience. Clearly, there's some hype behind this. But the whole purpose of releasing Gears of War Reloaded is to bring in PlayStation players. This has nothing to do with Xbox players. Again, yeah, it's great, I guess, for all of us to be able to play Gears of War 1 remastered again after everybody already did. But the whole point was to get PlayStation players excited to dive into the overall experience. And seeing that only a quarter of that 1 million, player count is on PlayStation is not so hot, in my personal opinion, because the whole idea is to get them excited for E-Day and get them invested into the Gears of War franchise and get them hooked and wanting to go ahead and try the other, games within the overall franchise. And this seems to absolutely fail. I'm going to be honest, to me personally, those numbers are a failure. And it really worries me for the future of the overall franchise because we need PlayStation players for E-Day to be stupidly successful. People might want to debate with this, and please go ahead, go down in the comment section. You can, leave your opinions down below. As we always say on this channel, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. And that's the fun of YouTube, right? Talking about different takes and, going back and forth and sharing ideas. As long as you could do it respectfully, that's what it's all about. If you can't do it respectfully, you're just simply a loser. But whether you would like to go ahead and admit it or not, Gears of War isn't the most popping game anymore. The first initial 3 were absolutely huge, especially the first initial 2. And after 3, I think it kind of started slowing down a bit. But you could just simply tell. The player numbers aren't there anymore. The popularity isn't there anymore. I mean, simply try hopping into a multiplayer experience for Gears of War 5. You're going to be playing with the same people over and over and over again. And again, I do understand the game is old, so on and so forth. But Gears of War needs the PlayStation players for that extra oomph so it can actually thrive and be bigger and, live up to what it should be. Gears of War is an awesome game, and it's one of the only cover-based shooters that it's still, basically semi-relevant. Every other game out there is slowly pulling themselves away from the cover-based shooter genre. And yeah, we still have third-person shooters, but they're not cover-based shooters. Stuff like The Last of Us, Uncharted. Gears of War is one of the last of, its kind. Not really, it's still others out there, but I'm talking about popularity-wise. When people are talking about cover-based shooters, this is basically it. And the only way for me personally to really see this being successful and seeing, especially Xbox, Microsoft wanting to continue with this IP, is if they can actually get a bunch of people to want to stick around and support it, especially moving into E-Day. And trust me, I think E-Day is going to do phenomenal for the Xbox crowd, right? I think the majority of all of us, all the hardcore Gears heads, are excited for something that takes place during that time period. That's going to be so freaking epic. And it doesn't matter what the outcome of multiplayer is going to be or how things are going to be handled afterwards. I guarantee all of us, if you're watching this video and you're a hardcore Gears head, all of us are going to buy it. We can debate about it and say that we're not, and we want to, hold our ground. And nah, we're all going to buy it, man. It's going to be a one-of-a-kind experience. As long as they don't screw it up, I think everything is going to be phenomenal within the campaign. But in order for it to truly thrive within multiplayer, they have to go ahead and bring some more players into the overall experience. And that starts with PlayStation. And Gears of War Reloaded was that exact opportunity. And barely any PlayStation players are tapping into the experience. And can you blame them? They remastered the oldest and clunkiest Gears of War game out of all of them. And don't get me wrong, Gears of War 1 is legendary. It has a charm to it. I love the clunky nature of this overall game, and I think a lot of you guys do as well. But the age is showing, guys. Even when you go at a remaster, the age is showing. And PlayStation players aren't going to stick around for this, especially if they're not hardcore players. Now, of course, if they were on Xbox before and they switched to PlayStation, yeah, they'll stick around and play some Gears of War Reloaded. But if they never played a Gears game ever in their whole life, they'll hop into this overall experience. And they're not going to stick around for multiplayer. Yeah, they might come in and try the campaign, but I don't think that's enough to really encourage people to try out a new franchise, especially one that they have no clue about. The best situation would have been remastering all of the games and doing a Marcus Phoenix collection. I know I said this 1,000 different times over, but that would have been the way of handling it. Having all the different games clumped into one and allowing players to play what they want to play, and will also allow PlayStation players to see the rest of what the franchise has to offer. If they were to play 1, 2, and 3, they would be much more encouraged to go ahead and hop into E-Day over just simply playing Gears of War 1. You should have really allowed the PlayStation players to invest themselves into the overall world of Gears of War. And it doesn't help that the devs aren't even really updating this game very frequently. Again, I understand it's an old Gears of War game. It's Gears of War 1. It's a remastered. So, I mean, they don't really necessarily have to do anything, right? But Gears of War 5 hasn't had support in ages, okay? It has gotten no updates. Nothing's going on. The game is dead in the developer's eyes. And also, PlayStation players can't even play Gears of War 5, so that's irrelevant in the first place. Gears of War Reloaded is a perfect opportunity for the Coalition to come in and show that they care, they love this overall franchise, and, they want to give themselves a good reputation. But instead, all the new PlayStation players that are coming in are getting nothing but a bad taste. And I'll say it again, because I know people are probably going to mention it in the comment section. I get it. It's a remaster. It's an older game. But it doesn't matter, okay? At the end of the day, people vote with their wallets and their first impressions. And this was a lot of players' first impressions of the overall franchise and how the Coalition handles, putting together these games. And it's busted. I mean, the shotgun still absolutely obliterates people up close and personal. They only bothered fixing the mid-range damage. And you're still getting one shot downed all the time in up-close battles. That shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening. If you get that close, it's either a chunk, which again, for anybody that's new to, Gears of War, that means it's a one-shot kill. You shoot them and the whole body explodes. Or you have to shoot them twice and you down them, and then you can finish off the opponent. You should not be able to go up to someone who has full health, shoot them once, and they go down. Like I said, it's one or the other. You shoot them twice, or you shoot them once and they explode. There's no in between for that. And they refuse to fix it. We're going a month deep into Gears of War Reloaded right now, ladies and gentlemen. And they still haven't bothered fixing any of the major core issues. And I'm not talking about the charm, the nature of the clunkiness of Gears of War Reloaded. They don't have to do anything with that. If they want this game to actually feel and act like Gears of War 1 and all the bugs and all that stuff that happened, that's great. I've already mentioned this in previous videos, right? I don't care about that stuff. I think it's actually a charm to the game if they keep the same bugs. And it's just it's a nostalgia trip. But when you have busted stuff like the shotgun that shouldn't be there, that isn't the case, then, I don't know what else to say. And the fact that they're I don't want to call them lazy because they're not lazy. The reality is here, ladies and gentlemen, that it's a skeleton team working on Gears of War Reloaded. So it's not the development team's laziness. It's how Microsoft is managing, how many people should be on this project. They're morons. They should have had more people working on this game. They should have more people supporting it. And they should be trying their absolute hardest to try to make PlayStation players believe that the Coalition rocks and that Gears of War is an outstanding franchise that they should invest their time into. But this is a horrible first impression for so many PlayStation players out there that I don't even know if they're going to bother, investing into E-Day. All the Xbox players and PC players are going to go right into E-Day. That's great. But the PlayStation players, Like, do you guys genuinely think that this was enough to make them want to try out Gears of War E-Day? Who knows? So we still got, it's dropping in 2026. We have so much time ahead of us. The marketing hasn't started. We have no clue what, new introductions are coming into the game. I might just be yapping to yap at this point. But regardless, it's just how I feel. It's just my personal opinions. I don't think that this was a good way of handling the PlayStation players. They could have done so much more. They could have had all of the Gears up in this, remaster here, Gears of War 1, 2, 3, and they could have also had more people working on the overall project to make sure that it's fixed and polished and kept up to date so PlayStation players can look at that and get a good impression of the development team to encourage them even further to invest their time within the overall franchise. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, go down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about this overall topic. Do you agree with me that this was kind of a wasted opportunity and they could have done a lot more to pull in PlayStation players? Or do you think that this was great and, it was just the right amount to make PlayStation players, kind of invested into Gears of War and get them excited for E-Day? But as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post here daily at 8 in the morning Eastern Time, and we also double upload at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Everything between Gears, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Splitgate 2, Arc Raiders, pretty much any FPS or third-person shooter that sparks my interest, I go ahead and discuss on this channel, so subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, go link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.